Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's being brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy entrepreneurs and professionals get their books done to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. I'm doing a series of spotlights on remarkable business intermediaries and brokers across the country. Joining me on this segment is Greg Fuchs. He's with VR Business Brokers in South Florida. Greg, welcome to the program.
Glad to be here, Mark.
Greg, tell me a little bit about your practice and specifically, who are the types of clients that you specialize in helping?
Well, we have like a broad range. I mean, we we feel we are capable of dealing with any type of business. Doesn't matter what the price point is, doesn't matter what the industry is. So we deal with businesses that are selling for $50,000. We deal with businesses that sell for $20 million in probably 100 different industries. I mean, restaurants is far and away the most popular category of businesses that get sold, but by no means are they the only type of business. We deal with everything: manufacturing, construction, beauty, public insurance adjusters. I mean, the whole gamut. And even though we do a lot of large deals, the preponderance of our customers are still more of the Main Street mom and pop businesses that are selling for, less than probably $500,000 a year.
So, the inspiration for this whole series of interviews is about the Great Resignation. And I understand that that's been motivating a lot more folks to look for buying businesses and getting out of their corporate jobs. Has it also motivated sellers out there that have been on the fence? Like, tell me what it's been like in your area.
You would think so, okay? Especially since I read a stat the other day that 10,000 baby boomers are retiring every day, and almost 20% of them own small businesses. So you would think there would be a tidal wave of those people looking to sell their business. There's been two challenges in the last few years. One is obviously COVID. I mean, a lot of businesses went out of business. So obviously they're no longer eligible to be sold. And then there's obviously a lot of businesses still in business, but were adversely affected by COVID. So it may not be a good time for them to sell, because everyone thinks of COVID. Well, 2020 was what really hammered us. Yeah, and it hammered us more than 2021 did. But COVID is still affecting businesses now, sitting here in February of 2022. So a lot of people may not be feeling it's, even though they're mentally ready to retire or sell, financially, it may not make sense for them.
So, are they just kind of hanging in there and waiting for a better time and maybe a smoother valuation?
A lot of them are, and it varies by business. Now, obviously, not all businesses were affected by COVID, and some of them have responded out of COVID much better than others. I had a business I sold last year, food-related business, killed in 2020, and they came out of the gates gangbuster in January, which allowed us to be able to sell the business in May because they had like record sales every month. I have other businesses that have still not back to 2019 levels, which makes it challenging to sell a business like that.
Fascinating. So, for folks selling businesses today, I'd imagine it's probably the first time they're going through this process if they've been in business for such a long time. Do they have any like big questions on their mind? Are they informed when they first reach out to you about selling?
Uh, they do have a lot of questions. Most of them, not all that informed. So I always tell people, hey, if you know someone who's thinking to sell, even though they're not 100% sure, I have no problem talking with them. Doesn't cost them a nickel. I mean, they obviously have questions about, hey, explain the sales process to me. How does it work? And most importantly, what's my business worth? Which requires a little bit of work, P&Ls and tax returns and asking a bunch of questions. But those are the two big questions that sellers have. And going back to the question you asked earlier, uh, I'm a member of the Business Brokers of Florida Trade Associations. We have our own MLS system where we post all our listings. Listings for businesses for sale in the state of Florida with business brokers is still down 30% from pre-COVID.
Interesting. And I'd imagine the buyers have increased the looking.
There's a lot of buyers out there. Some of them are looking for those sweetheart deals. And you get a lot of people foreigners looking for their E2 visa. They want to come to the United States, get that American dream. But yeah, there's been no shortage of buyers, but their buyers can be picky. I mean, just in the state of Florida, listed with business brokers, there's 2,500 businesses for sale. So in theory, they can look at 2,500 different businesses, where if you're someone selling a business, you got one business to sell.
Interesting. So for folks that are selling that have little information or some misinformation, have you heard any myths or misconceptions out there that they kind of hold on to that aren't quite right about selling?
Some of them just think their business is worth more than it really is, even though they don't really say, how'd you come up with that number? Well, someone mentioned it to me, my attorney or whatever, thought that might be a fair number. So, the valuation of a business is a biggie. The overall process hasn't been that challenging because it's relatively similar to selling a home. And most people are used to the process of buying and selling a home. Now, selling a business takes longer. There's more due diligence involved, but the overall process is kind of sort of the same. You sign a listing agreement. We try and get buyers. You meet with buyers. They make an offer. So most sellers understand that process. Uh,
To prepare a business for sale, how far in advance should they start planning that?
you know,
And what
that,
is this, kind of give us a 10,000-foot view of what
that,
they should be preparing?
that may be the most important question you ask. Okay. Uh, if someone owns a business, I can guarantee you the day will come when they don't own the business, whether it's death, retirement, giving it to a child, whatever it is, and they need to plan for that day. And you hate to get too dark, but if you literally get hit by that proverbial bus, what happens to your business tomorrow? Is it still going to run? Is it still going to be profitable? Are your employees still going to have a job? Is your family going to still have the income from that business? First and foremost, you need to be able to answer that question. But even if you're not planning on retiring for 5, 10, 20 years, whatever, you still should talk to your financial advisor, your tax accountant, because they may have suggestions about the best way to sell your business that can minimize taxes, for example.
Excellent. Uh, Greg, what inspired you to get into this field and help other business owners sell their businesses? How did you
Well,
get started?
I can't say I originally planned to get into this field. I worked for a company that got bought out by a private equity company. And after like 6 months, they pretty much got rid of all the senior management, including myself. Okay. So I find myself over 50 years of age looking for a similar type job, similar type income. And if you're over 50, it's not that easy to find those jobs that you want. I mean, ageism exists out there, even though people will say they don't discriminate against people who are older. It definitely happens. So it was challenging to find the right job. I happened to come across a business broker opening while I was looking for a job. I was familiar with what a business broker does. And as a business broker, my prior career, I was in corporate finance. So I was used to looking at financial statements and tax returns, which is a decent part of what I do as a business broker. So I thought it'd be a good match. And it was something different. It's, you're out of the corporate world, you get to work from home. So all that stuff was intriguing to me.
Fascinating. Uh, Great opportunity and a great match for your background. Greg, before I ask you my last question, for somebody looking to sell today, but they don't quite know where to start, and they don't know how to choose a business intermediary or broker, what's the most important thing they should look for in someone they want to work with?
I mean, other than just calling me, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of business brokers out there. I mean, a lot of them are very good, some not so good, some just do it part time. So, like everything these days, it usually starts with a Google search. You look for Yelp reviews. Uh, just ask the professionals you deal with. There's a good chance your attorney or a CPA may know somebody. And that's the best thing. If you get someone, hey, this guy sold my friend's business, he was really good, professional, give this guy a call. And I would suggest, even though I'd like to have them call me and call no other business broker, talk to 2 or 3, see who you feel comfortable with, see if they answer the questions the same way.
That's sage advice. For folks listening who would love to call you and speak with you about selling their business or maybe even looking for a business, and they'd like to speak with you, how do they find you, connect with you, and learn more?
Okay, well, they can find me via email is the easiest thing, and it's just Greg, Greg, at www.vrbocaраton.com. And our corporate website is just similar, www.vrbocaраton.com.
Terrific. Greg, this has been great. I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing your knowledge with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for
All right.
you and for all of your clients.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate you taking the time, Mark.
That was Greg Fuchs with VR Business Brokers of South Florida. And this segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.